Hey guys, it is April 8th, 2023, and I wanted to share the progress in my garden and landscaping in just the past few weeks with you. So I hope you guys enjoy. So I've got my planters put together. I sort of keep those sky pencil hollies in these planters over here all year round, but then I usually take these two central planters in because it just gets too cold for whatever I have in them. Both of these central planters are self-watering and currently are filled with cordyline, petunia, and bacopa. And I think this is this type of petunias, it might be like a mix. I think it's called pachoa, but I have noticed that all of this does pretty well in the heat, and this is southern exposure, so whatever I put in here needs to do pretty decent. Like I said, this is a self-watering planter, but in the past, instead of using things like cordyline, I've used like fountain grass, and it's just hard to keep up with the watering even with a self-watering planter during the summer months. So that's what I've got there. And then I've got a juniper here, which is doing great, and these guys tend to do really well. They don't like a lot of water, they don't like wet feet, so sometimes that can be a struggle in our compacted, if you have compacted and clay soil. If you have rocky soil, usually less of an issue. Just some little gem boxwoods here, and a newer one that I've put there. Here is that Mexican bush sage, so it's a type of salvia. Here is some black-eyed Susan, rudbeckia. Back here is another salvia, I believe it's the salvia greggii, also known as autumn sage. And then here, I think this is also a type of salvia. I'll make sure I put the name on the video. Then I've got a couple crepe myrtles. You can kind of see how I have them over here. I don't know, they always look pretty scrappy in the early spring, so we'll see if it totally leaves out or if I've got some dead branches I'll need to prune away. Lots of suckers, but I'm not going to probably do anything just yet. Then I've got some Angelonia, which is probably drowning in all this rain we've gotten here. Yaupon hollies, which are doing pretty well. You can see that all that nice new green foliage. An aster here. And then the Gaura here, and this is so pretty. I don't know how well it's doing with all this rain we've gotten, but it really took off. Planted this last year, and boy, it really took off this spring, and so we'll see how it does. I have a Greg's mistflower. A little nervous about this one. I don't know if this was the greatest spot. This is west facing, so it might cook or it might get established and do well. I don't know yet, so let me know what you think. Then another couple of yaupons with an aster right there in the middle. I just put in this Esperanza. I'm so happy because this will fill in that space, I think, pretty nicely. And then I have a Gaura, and then another black-eyed Susan here. If you're wondering what these rocks are in the corners, I put those there because just to kind of help facilitate drainage, to kind of have it go away from the house. And so those corner spots tend to get a lot of water, and so it just kind of sort of diverts it a little bit more diffusely and not just into one spot. Along the wall there I have a crossvine, and I really need to start training it because it's just kind of turning into a giant jumble. And then here I have a Japanese yew, and I'm not sure that this was a great selection. It really has done well, but it's looking pretty, I don't know, rough right now. So we'll see how it does this year, and whether I need to replace it or not. Then I've got some nandina here, and these have done really well, but as I understand it, some varieties can be invasive, and so it's just something to consider if that's something you're thinking about putting in your yard. But these ones just have such a really pretty purple new growth. These are dwarf varieties, so they won't get very tall. Here I have a mum. It's looking real sad, But this was from from fall, and I just had this out in like a decorative planter, but I kept it alive in the greenhouse, and I thought, let me just put this in the ground and see what happens. So I've kind of got it as like a border planting here. And then I have a perennial boxwood. I have two flanking my front door here because it just kind of gives it some, you know, like a little bit of more of an entry presence there. Here, I'm so excited about this plant. It's got some slime mold on it. Like, I've got all this slime mold everywhere, which is not harmful, but it's a little bit annoying because it's not cute. But this is, I think it's called coreopsis, also known as this color is called, I think, Broad Street, but this is a tick seed, native to Texas. You see how like dainty that foliage is? Isn't that pretty? And so this will get, I think, under 2 feet in height and spread, but I thought that'd be real pretty. I've got one there as well. And then I've got another mum, another dwarf nandina, another Japanese yew, I think it's called podocarpus is the Latin name, Muhly or Muhly grass. I have this, I forgot what, I think it's a unimus, or so, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I just think it's such a pretty shrub with lots of color, and there's no flowers on it, but just get this beautiful yellow color. Then I've got a little acanthus that I thought didn't make it, but boy, it's just coming up there. And then I have these 3 here. I'll make sure I put the name. The name escapes me right now, but they're so pretty, very drought tolerant, and they just add they have this nice green gray foliage, and so it just adds a little bit of structure, kind of a different texture to this area. And then of course I've got Texas sage here, and it had a bit of an aphid infestation, so despite all the rain, it's not really done much in terms of flowering yet. And then I have another autumn sage kind of behind this rock grouping, and I was thinking about putting maybe some more Angelonia or maybe bluebonnets or something kind of alongside or maybe in front, just to kind of, you know, sort of nestle the rocks, make it look more like a natural formation here. And then I've got a yaupon holly, a dwarf yaupon holly that I transferred, like I transplanted, so it was kind of more in this area, but then I moved it there because I kind of wanted more this sort of formation. I don't know if you can kind of see, I wanted it to come like in the back, in the front, in the back, kind of like a V. So that's what I was going for, so that's why I moved it, and it seems like it's doing well. And then I just added this one here, this dwarf yaupon holly, and then I've got a Nelly R Stevens holly, which is doing its classic little bit of leaf drop here in the spring with these yellow leaves, but these are really, really pretty as well. So you can kind of see it from this direction here. And y'all, I made that wreath. I'm so proud of myself. I don't know, it might need a little work, but okay. So there you go. So I'm gonna take you to the backyard next. All right, so you can see everything is just putting on lots of new growth here. Got these perennial boxwoods with these sunshine ligustrum in between. And then I've got this beautiful Japanese maple here. And I'll tell you, these really need to, I don't even know if mine is really in a great position. It's on the northeast side, so it gets less sun than everything, but they really need to either be an understory or for sure afternoon shade kind of tree. So just something to keep in mind. Beautiful, beautiful. In Central Texas, or in Texas in general, as I understand it, the Emperor One and the Bloodgood are your best bets. They keep that nice red color versus some of the other Japanese maples, which can lose their red color and kind of go to green when it's hot. So just something to keep in mind. Here I've got a blue chalk stick, and then I've got a pencil cactus, and this is cool because it just turns kind of this really pretty red or reddish at the top. And then I've got a mangave here, which I recently transplanted, and you know, I roughed it up pretty bad. I don't know if you can see all those bottom leaves there, but I'll have to kind of clean that up a bit. But all these things tend to do just great out here. They don't really need a lot of water. Oh, and then over here I've got this desert rose. So pretty when she flowers. So, but none of them are really liking, I think, all this rain. They like a huge rain and then nothing and then lots of sun. So that's how they tend to do best, but they'll recover. Here I have got these junipers again. I've done these on repeat in my yard because they're so pretty. They're like just narrow, and so maybe 3 to 5 feet. I've got like some that are more 3 feet, and then I got this guy that's more like 5 feet in width. And so, but I prefer these over those Italian cypress. They're hardy. They do great in the cold, and they do good in the heat. Again, they just don't tend to like wet feet. And so sometimes you got to get them established with the watering, but then sometimes we just kill them with kindness. And so I've seen a lot of that in my area. Okay, so here's that section that I showed you in that March video. So if you kind of want a comparison from just like 3 weeks ago, you can check that out. But there's some catmint there. So I've got it here and here, yaupon holly, and then check this girl out. Isn't she pretty? So this is that mealy cup sage. Also, it's a type of salvia, but look at those flowers. So pretty. Oh, and we got some kind of bug on there. Hopefully that's a good one. But and then I'll probably kind of pinch this back once it starts getting a little leggy, but it's doing pretty good so far. So kind of another yaupon holly, black-eyed Susan, and then I've got liriope here in the front, which is really not it looks like a grass. It's more like a type of lily, and they will get these like little purple flowers. So I've got a lot of blue purple here. So because of that, I don't know if you did watch that March video, there was nothing here or here, and I've since then put this autumn sage with white flowers, so a type of salvia. And those will both get about 3 by 3 feet, so should fill in nicely. Here in the middle, believe it or not, this is a Gaura, and it's real floppy like this because I think I planted it too shallow, so it's probably more planted in the mulch than the actual dirt. So you definitely want to not do that. You don't want to plant it in a ton of organic material. And matter of fact, a lot of our Texas natives don't like that. They prefer really that rocky soil. So if you do have clay soil, something you could do is just add a little bit of compost, some sort of till in some organic matter, really mix it in, or expanded clay shale to just sort of amend it and keep it quick draining. But so we'll see. You can kind of see it's like low to the ground versus my other Gaura, but she's got some pretty flowers. They're just real low. And then here is another mealy cup sage right here. You remember how little that was just a few weeks ago. And then that is a seagreen juniper. Little catmint here, not really doing much, so I'm not sure if something's up with it, or maybe it's just early yet. Yaupon holly, more slime mold, and then here, let me kind of back up so you can kind of see this forest pansy, and the leaves will get much bigger. So right now it's looking pretty sparse. I have noticed that that's how this tends to progress. So you can see some of the leaves are very, very tiny right now, but the leaves will probably get about this size and fill in pretty nicely here. And so in comparison to this redbud, and again, both are redbuds. So this is an eastern redbud, and this is a Texas redbud, I guess a western redbud, and this guy is just full. And I mean, I love all the different shades of green in this. And so, but you can kind of see the difference. And then again, I've got that V formation of yaupon hollies. I guess that's just my thing. I've got a couple of dahlias here, I don't know, that might not be a great idea, and they're probably going to die after all this rain. They're tough to grow, as I understand it, unless you have very quick draining soil. They don't like a lot of organic material, so I try to like brush the mulch away from them. But I just wanted to try them and see how I did. So if you're a dahlia expert, let me know how you do, or what you do, I should say. And then another aster here, and then there's another Gaura that just got put in this season, seagreen, juniper, and then there's that acanthus. And so really kind of taken off here. Excited to see it really do its thing because they're so pretty. Loropetalum, I did drop some iron sulfate in this recently, so hopefully you can kind of see some of the leaves are pretty green to yellow. Some are pretty purple. I mean, they should look like this, right? Loropetalum. But some of them look like, you kind of see that there, more green. And so we'll see. Hopefully that'll help it out a little bit. And then another liriope, and then another type of salvia, that Mexican bush sage. And then here is that desert willow, really has leafed out nicely here. And then the coneflower, not doing a whole lot yet, just put some new leaves on, I think. And then the Muhly grass here in, here, let me kind of scoot you back over here. So I've got a couple of, so I've got Texas lantana here and here, and then I have a Gaura here. So all that's doing well. I forgot to talk about this last time, but this red yucca here, very water tolerant plant, native to Texas, flowers as beautiful red spires that hummingbirds and pollinators love. I've got this other thing here that I've had for a while. It's a lady slipper. I don't know what the euphorbia, I think, is the other name for it, but it is cold tolerant apparently. So my plan is to put this guy in the ground, kind of in this area, but clearly I have a downspout that I'm going to reroute this downspout to my, once I get this lid on, I'm going to reroute that downspout to my rain harvesting tank here. I'm worried that if I put this cactus right here, it's just going to get all this water and it's not going to do good. So I'm just kind of leaving him there. Or it's not really a cactus, it's a succulent, but I just don't want to drown that succulent. And then of course there's a little gem magnolia. You can see the flowers are taking shape here. And then this grass, this Muhly grass, is not woken up. I hope it's not dead. I mean, it's kind of shady over here, so maybe it's just not really quite gotten enough sun yet to wake up. But yeah, there's that. And then the camellia there. And then there's that Bellini crepe myrtle. That's that tiny crepe myrtle, only gets about 3 by 3 feet. Whale's tongue agave. And guys, I really don't think my prickly pear are gonna make it. I mean, it's real brown, and I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything at the bases here, but I'm gonna leave it to the summer and see what it does. And then I've got another camellia here, and then I'm replacing this guy. I have plans to replace this with like a Turk's cap, but I also have gotten these chili, I think chili petin. I've also heard them called like pekin. But they have these tiny little chilies on them that are really hot. The birds like them, so you can use them, but the birds like them too. And so I plan on kind of adding them to this bed because they tend to do fine in the shade. I've got a little bit of mint here, which is not going in the ground because it's very, very aggressive. I'm actually going to put one here, and then I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to put one of each of these ferns kind of in each of these planters. And so there's that crossvine that I'm hoping to train to grow over the top here. All right, so here in the garden pad, so my lettuce is super, okay, some of it's trying to bolt, but most of it's so happy with this cold and this rain. And the broccoli and spinach, they're really happy in this cold and this rain. The tomatoes are holding down the fort here. They're doing fine, but You know, it's just no flowers really or anything yet. I think I had one of them flower, but nothing really came of it. And then strawberries, of course, are happy here in the cold and the rain. And then I got the cucumber plants there and there. Now I'm a little worried because I happened to sow some corn right before all this rain came and the cold came, and as I understand it, it needs to be sown at, I guess, 60 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, otherwise the seeds can just rot. So will something happen? Will something not happen? I don't know. It's my first year growing corn, so I tried to wait till after April 1st because that was the guidance I got, but maybe it didn't work. And so here is some more mums that I saved from the fall that I plan on putting in the ground. And I'm so excited. This is that Texas Star hibiscus that I started from seed. I started a bunch of them and gave them to friends, but this guy's going to kind of go in that patch that I'm trying to fill in here in the backyard. And this gets really big, like 6 feet tall. So it'll go toward the back. And apparently these guys can take a little bit more moisture. So if you're looking at this kind of plant and you have a spot that maybe is a little wetter than other spots, like this would be a good plant for that. I don't necessarily have that in that area, but so I'll have to keep an eye out, make sure that it doesn't dry out or anything. All right, here's the keyhole garden. And so pretty much just has some kale and shallots and then like this, like, I don't know if it's like a volunteer tomato plant or what, but this area doesn't quite get as much sun. It gets about maybe 6 hours of sun. So the kale, as I understand, I mean, it's always done well here, but anything like a tomato or something that needs more, like something that fruits, I guess, that needs more sun this is probably not a great spot for it. But so there is that. I had some volunteer potatoes growing in the central compost area, and I pulled them up and I was like, oh, there, I could have let that ride. But so here along the side of my compost enclosure, I've got this like these little hen and chick arrangements. These are the echeveria, but look how cute these are. This one looks like a little satellite, you know, but he's shooting off all these little chicks here. And so I guess they're very happy in this spot. So I'm just going to keep, and this one's doing the same thing. Haven't seen much from the darker ones yet in either this spot or here along that keyhole garden. I kind of nestled some in there, but these ones are really happy. So that's what's going on in my yard, first week of April. I hope you guys are enjoying just spring and getting back in your gardens again. Please do let me know if you have any tips or recommendations on anything you saw here today. And y'all take care.